Thank you, and welcome to the Workforce and Business Development Committee meeting. We have a busy agenda, and we also have a long day, so I'm going to try my best to get us out of here at a very respectful time, because Councilman Graham told me he would never come back to a meeting. So we want to move on, and so without further ado, I would like everyone to introduce themselves. We're going to start with those who are on the phone. Committee members first. Councilmember Johnson.
Hi, this is Renee Johnson, District 4.
Nobody else is on right now. Okay, we'll go those in the room. Vice Chair just entered, so perfect timing. I'm gonna let him get situated. So staff, Ms. Holland.
Hey, Holly Eskridge, Assistant Economic Development Director.
Fran West, Assistant Economic Development Director.
Tracy Dodson, Assistant City Manager.
Donata Jackson, Office of Constituent Services.
Malcolm Graham, City Council, District 2.
Tarek Bakari, Vice Chair.
Okay, thanks everyone. So Tracy, I'm gonna start hanging it over to you. We have 4 items on the agenda. One is going to capture a lot of our time. We'll start off with Tracy introducing the items.
Okay, great. Thank you, Councilmember Mitchell. The first item that we have today is, as you said, is going to take up the bulk of our time, is really revisiting and the continued work around the workforce development and the committee referrals that came in. As you know, 2 weeks ago, we presented a lot of information to you. It was a lot of data-driven information, and we want to come back. We've done more peer city research, as well as some other research into others. I will remind you that there were 4 items that were referred to committee, and essentially last committee meeting we kind of condensed those down to 2 items, which is workforce development as it relates kind of to unemployment, and then workforce development as it relates to public investment and policy around that. I am going to kick it over to Fran West to handle a bulk of the presentation, but I also want to acknowledge that we have on the phone Scott Darnell. Scott comes to us with a lot of economic development experience. He is he's currently in transition from Eastern North Carolina over back into the Charlotte market, and so he's helping us with some of this research and pulling this together. And Fran will have them participate in some pieces of the presentation as well. So with that, Fran, I'm going to kick it to you.
Perfect. Thank
Welcome,
you.
Scott.
Anyway, everyone, thank you for your time today. I was great to watch and listen to our team 2 weeks ago present about kind of a data share of where we are today. And so I wanted to talk about some key takeaways from our last meeting. So we focused about corridor labor market data. So we looked at some areas of our city that have had historically high unemployment. And the data that we shared indicates that many of the people who are unemployed, we believe, face barriers to employment. But the core of what we really discussed and where we're going is we need to better understand who is unemployed, why they're unemployed, and what is the best opportunity for job placement, which we think is really going to get us to a customized strategy for each of our corridors of opportunity. We also had Daniel Frazier from Charlotte Works talk about our workforce ecosystem. We have a robust workforce ecosystem that they have recently mapped that's serving our community in a variety of ways. What she also emphasized was the city needs to continue to bring the job opportunities for our residents and make sure that we are connecting the employers that we bring to this city with our partners at Charlotte Works and others in the workforce ecosystem. But there are gaps that do remain, and those are the gaps that we're going to try to solve for. And then lastly, Emily Cantrell presented on job creation. So we've been really successful in bringing new jobs to Charlotte, but there's a lack of real estate product along some of our corridors. So we've seen strategic growth, like along the light rail, but there are opportunities in our corridors to locate some of that growth. So we need to identify those new opportunities that will provide jobs for adjacent residents. Next slide. Really quickly, the zip code labor market data, we've added 28213 to this mix, which I'll share more on in a second. But mostly, we see some, in all of our zip codes, we see top barriers, including poverty, crime, single-parent households. Some have more employment opportunities than they have residents. Some are mostly residential without a lot of nearby employment opportunities. All of this was great data for us to help guide our strategy. Next slide.
Hey, Fran.
Yes, sir.
If I may, thank you, because I think adding the 28213 and 28206 was something Councilman Johnson requested, so thank you
Yeah.
for putting that data in there. Thank you.
And then I really wanted to specifically follow up on some questions that were raised from our last meeting and hit those before we dive into new data. So if you go to the next slide, one of those was around 28213, so you can see the attached slide here. This is the area of Sugar Creek and North Tryon. You can see that we added the pre-COVID and post-COVID unemployment. There's a slight typo on this, but it was 9.7% pre-COVID. It's 13.8% post-COVID. The top industry is retail, which is something I know that Alyssa and Kevin talked about last week. That's challenging because a lot of that is, entry-level work that doesn't pay very well. We also added the foreign-born population to this slide. And so we will share this slide with council. It's also in, if you go to the next slide, you'll see we also found a way to best share all of the data that we had pulled for these zip codes. Last night, I sent everyone a comprehensive spreadsheet of all types of information broken down per zip code. Specifically asked at our last meeting were the pre-COVID and post-COVID unemployment rates. You'll see those on this spreadsheet. In addition, the individual median income per year as well as hourly. And then a question was asked about the refugee population. That was not available, but we were able to pull foreign-born and then non-citizen population.
So, Fran, real quick. Councilmember Ashmere just joined us. First of all, welcome. Secondly, Councilmember Ashmere, you heard staff difficulty. You got any thoughts? Is the foreign-born population the data we can really use?
Yes, I think a foreign-born population would be more comprehensive versus just the refugee, because then it will not include our immigrant population. So foreign-born would include our immigration population. So I appreciate, Fran, your work on it. I saw your email this morning, and I was very pleased to see the data. Thank you for doing this.
Well, I'll have to give a shout out to Alyssa Brown on our team. She is the head of research, and she works really diligently to pull together the data that we need to create solutions. So she spent a lot of time on that.
Interesting. Mr. Chairman, what I was trying to get to is our East Charlotte, where we have large foreign-born population. As you can see, it's almost 30%. And we have to look at what are the employment barriers for that population and how do we address that. And it has, they experience very unique barriers, whether it's transportation like mobility or even language barriers, that we got to address that in our initiatives.
Councilman Ashmere, don't agree. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. And Fran, thank you for incorporating. So let me just pause here and just so the committee will know. This is a lot of data, but it's important data the staff have pulled together. So any question, let's stop, because this is going to help us when we start talking about our framework, our policy. So I'd rather we spend a lot of time on the data part than anything else. So thank you. Go ahead.
Of course, and there's a lot more than what you see on the screen, the specific questions that were asked or what's on the screen. But if you open that spreadsheet, there's data in there about what we believe are perceived barriers, demographic data. And if you have questions, feel free to let myself know, and I can get that resolved from Alyssa if you want to dig a little deeper. We plan to dig deeper. Again, this is zip code level data. We'll talk about this in a minute, but we are using a consultant at Ernst & Young to do a much deeper dive on really understanding our labor force. That'll help us put people into jobs, but also why don't they have a job, to Councilmember Ajmir's point, and really develop those customized solutions for each part of town. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. So next slide. In addition,
Question.
there were some, go ahead.
Councilmember Ashmere, go right ahead.
Could you go back to last slide? I was looking at pre and post COVID numbers here, and I see significant increase from pre to post in 28216 zip code and 28213. But if you look at East Charlotte 28212, employment actually have increased. Could you just tell me if there is an explanation behind that? So pre-COVID number is 12.1 and post-COVID is 12.5.
But that's unemployment.
That's unemployment.
Unemployment, Councilmember Ashmere.
Unemployment
Yes, ma'am.
numbers. That has
So it's grown.
actually pretty much stayed the same
Yeah.
for that zip code.
So you think there's a, let me rephrase it. So you're not confident with the data, you think that the unemployment rate post-COVID should be higher?
I mean, that's what I see in other zip codes, unless maybe, I'm sure the data is accurate. I just would like to know, maybe it's the industry, what kind of industry, or maybe the industries that 28212 has were not impacted. I'm just trying to understand, because as you can see, like in 28216, that number is almost double
Right.
it in 28213.
Okay. So staff, can we do this as a takeaway?
Qualify first where the data comes from.
Yeah, so our unemployment data came from NC Works, which is a division of NC Commerce. I would say that, we know some of the most impacted industries are, hospitality, tourism, retail. So we can do a deeper dive into the industry level data in 28212 and really see if we can hammer into why it hasn't seen as a significant jump in unemployment. I mean, I guess it's a good problem to have, though, right? Like, it's better than it's doubling. So,
But I think this will also get to some of our recommendations where we talk about deeper dives as it relates to corridors. Okay.
Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you. I was just wondering where the income information came from.
I believe.
Let me tell you why I'm asking specifically. 85 in Sugar Casino, there's a very high population of individuals who are either homeless or living in transitional housing, i.e. the hotels and motels. So I was wondering if they were counted. When we talk about a deeper dive, is it possible to get information from United Way or Social Serve or some of those organizations that have served that population? Because I want to ensure that they're counted, because I would think that might affect the median income if they were not counted. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Johnson. Okay. I think staff is over here writing those questions
Yeah,
down.
so that came out of, I'm sorry, I'm texting with Alyssa as well. She's unable to be here today. MZ, which is a source that we use for a lot of our data, it pulls those wages based off of an algorithm based off of several government sources and census tract data, but she's going to double check, Councilmember Johnson, that is also included. The one point back to Councilmember Ajmir's comment that Alyssa had was if there's a high immigrant population, some of them may be ineligible to collect unemployment. And if that is the case, then those numbers would not be reflected in NC Commerce's unemployment figures. But we'll take a deeper dive and get back to you on both of those questions. Is that all? All right, next slide.
Yep.
Also, we received several questions regarding incarceration, diversion, refugee, skills gap, small businesses, and hiring. I just wanted to hit on those really briefly. Incarceration, Councilmember Johnson, thank you for your email this morning. We're taking a deeper dive to really understand in these zip codes, formerly incarcerated residents, especially with Ernst & Young, we're having some trouble getting a really good source for this data. But I would say that this is something that will inform our strategy and most likely, I don't know that it's going to be data that we come out and share to a high degree of accuracy, but it will shape our strategy. Diversion, strengthening diversion programs. We're working more with CMPD, but we're also learning about other community partnerships, like last week, the announcement for the Center for Employment Opportunities and how they're working with Second Chance employees. So we want to learn how those are going to affect our ecosystem. For the refugee population, refugees can seek services from Carolina Refugee Resettlement and Refugee Support Services. That goes from everything from orientation, helping your kids get into school, employment services, case management, to offer those wraparound services. The skills gap. This is something that we're really focusing in on with Ernst & Young. Back to the labor study, this is critically important. We keep talking about understanding who's unemployed, understanding what their skills are and what skills they need to have the opportunity for growth. Small businesses, we're obtaining this data through existing industry outreach. We've launched a lot of small business grants, or I guess it's access to capital, Thrive Hiring Grant, things like that, which we hope to start to get some more survey data back from. And then hiring. I feel like this is our biggest opportunity to influence. With our work in small businesses, business recruitment and retention, we really build trusted relationships with these companies and helping to connect our workforce and education partners and truly be that inroads for them to source the jobs, to connect the residents. I also think, in talking multiple times with Danielle last week, that the more we can be an advocate for those organizations in the community so people are aware of them is also critically important.
So staff, go back if you don't mind. And so I think this was great feedback from staff, but I want to go to the council members who were very passionate about it and make sure we are spot on. So I know incarcerated was Councilmember Johnson, and Councilmember Johnson, then you have a question on the diversion program as well.
Thank you. Yeah, incarceration, I sent the email this morning with a link to the state website. It gives us a list of or numbers of individuals who've been released into our county. So individuals who've been incarcerated at a state level, I imagine that they would come home with a felony record. So that gives us some idea. We also received an email this morning from the Reentry Housing Alliance that advised us that there were 55,000 individuals in Mecklenburg County or in the city of Charlotte with a felony record. So if that's just the felony records, imagine those with the misdemeanors. So we know that this is a very significant barrier. So I hope we can get that information so that we can reach those hardest to employ. As far as diversion programs, we know that diversion programs, if we can eliminate those or reduce those having a criminal record, we know that's going to help them going forward. But I also wonder if diversion program, if we're talking about individuals with disabilities as well, or is this, again, just criminal justice diversion programming?
To the best of my knowledge, it's mainly focused on criminal justice diversion programs. But I can look into that a little bit further on the disability side just to confirm.
Okay. Well, yeah, we know that any diversion programs such as working with the courts or community organizations to reduce those who have criminal background so we can proactively help those with not receive the criminal record. So thank you. I look forward to that information.
Thank you, Councilmember Johnson. I think we touched on Councilmember Ashmere, so staff, we're spot on refugees. Skill gap, small business. Vice Chair, this was one. So your thoughts on, is staff spot on, or do you want to provide any other information?
I think it'll probably be premature to ask for anything else at this point, other than, once we scope in what our intended outcomes are that we want to achieve, then obviously I think we'll be in a better spot to give guidance and requested. I mean, so what do we know based on what you've said? We know there's over 10,000 small businesses in Charlotte alone. We've looked at that number greatly. We know those over 10,000 employ nearly 96,000 people inside Charlotte city limits, a huge number when you think about the total number of employment. So whether it's supporting small business or looking at post-COVID impacts of who's going to close their doors and how many jobs are going to be lost, or the workforce needs of those folks, I mean, there's so many angles we could go, but it's premature other than saying, yeah, that's a huge one, until you and EY and everyone kind of brings back your analysis, I think.
Perfect. Thank you. The last one, the hiring, is a hot one for me. Staff, I think you did a great job. I think my goal there is to find an entity or come up with a process that really connect. We all get the calls when we raise our hand for a Honeywell and Satine, and the citizens say, what's the process of me connecting those jobs opportunities? So that's kind of my goal, is the process, not so much us playing a role, but identifying a process.
I will just add to that really quickly. I mean, part of the approach in that hiring that we go to is so much more hands-on now in how we work with companies. Announcements, you've heard me say it a million times, announcements are great, but we build those relationships beyond the announcements so that we have that long-term relationship with them that helps them lay out how they identify their talent pipeline and then how we can help. So when you get those questions, or connecting them to various providers that are going to help them build out the talent pipeline.
All right, and next slide, please. So one of the things we've also been asked about is how the opportunity zones and corridors of opportunity work together. And so you can't, I don't know, at least on our screen, you can't see it as well right now with the shadings, but as you can tell, our corridors of opportunity are mainly contained in our opportunity zones. I think that, again, I come back to this deeper dive we're doing with Ernst & Young, but part of that is to identify what I call a catalyst site. So where along these corridors can we locate a piece of real estate development opportunity where we can put jobs? And so you can see that most of these overlap. And so we hope that'll drive part of our strategy as well.
So staff, I got to brag on, now you're showing off, because I sent you this text message 10:45 today, and you incorporating the slides. So now you're going to spoil me. But I know what Tracy
don't
said.
get spoiled.
Yes, right. Tracy said, don't make it a habit. But this is a serious conversation, slide, because I say as we try to look at all our tools in our toolbox, we need to connect them, and so they're not isolated. And so there are 17 opportunity zones throughout our city. And as we talking about developing in corridors, I'm going to pick on D too, because Malcolm got so much development going on Batesford Road. But I think this will help Malcolm when developers say, what's the extra incentive? We can say, Batesford Road at least have 2 or 3 opportunity zones. So Eastland, I think, has 2, and I can't remember Sugar Creek. But staff, thank you for allowing us to collectively see the big picture when it comes to our corridors and opportunity zone.
Yes, sir. Next slide. So we've done a lot of recap. We've done a lot of answering questions. So let's get to the meat of the discussion today. So we're really going to hit on 4 things. Workforce strategy, some peer city research that we have conducted. This is going to help shape our City of Charlotte strategy. Policy, city investments, and workforce requirements. And then what we've learned and where we're going. So over this meeting and our last meeting, you've been presented with a lot of information, and this is really going to say, what is all this going to come to fruition to create, and then our next steps. So peer city research on workforce strategies. So we did a lot of research and looked at a lot of cities across the United States, some that we compete with all the time. So Austin, Nashville, Atlanta, and Denver. And then some other cities that we've heard are doing some really great things like Detroit, Cleveland, Cincinnati. Next slide, please. What really it boiled down to is we see there are 4 buckets of initiatives. So upskilling focused initiatives. So this is where we're really training and upskilling for career growth. Industry focused. So several cities have industry specific initiatives like us in construction, which is where we'll get to on the policy side. Barrier focused. So a less common focus, but I think one that is critical, is how do we alleviate these barriers to allow people to get a job and stay in a job? And then technology solutions. Here we are, right? Everything's pivoted due to COVID. So how is the workforce ecosystem changing to deliver these online? 2 things that I want to point out on this slide, though. On the upskilling focused, I wanted to make sure everyone is aware that Mecklenburg County is launching a partnership with Charlotte Works. It's a $2 million recurring budget item that will upskill underemployed and young adults. They think that if every person who goes through gets a training stipend, a credential, some wraparound services, and an advisor, they'll be able to put through about 200 people with that budget. And they'll be going into jobs at Novant, Mecklenburg County, and at Atrium. So this is hot off the press, something that's new. I talked to Daniel Frazier about it at Charlotte Works. We'll have more data on this program by the end of the year. But it's very much focused on that upskilling, right? So people who are not unemployed, underemployed.
So, Fran, I learned today that there's this same initiative going on in the West Boulevard corridor. Rika Hall shared with me that they're trying to build a relationship with Atrium, that they would train citizens in that corridor, and to your point, upscale. Oh, perfect time in D3. Just talking about D3. So if Councilmember Watlington and myself and Ricky Hall can talk to you, I would hate for them to be taking on that initiative when, the city is also would like to take it on. So let's just talk about so it's not duplicate efforts. Okay.
The person on our team too, Emily Cantrell, is actually on a well-deserved vacation today.
She is.
So I want to make sure that she's connected into that as well. But this is a new program, again, with Met County. It's just something that we need to be aware of as we build out our own strategy. And then on the barrier focused was the North Carolina Community College system has launched a really successful program called the Finish Line Grant. This is given to students who are 50% of the way through their education at a community college. It's $1,000 per semester. And again, it's to get you across the finish line. So it can pay for auto repairs, childcare, medical bills, internet, housing assistance, utility bills, whatever is keeping you from finishing your community college degree. And again, it's very barrier focused. So I thought those were just 2 things that are already happening in our city that we needed to hit on. Next slide. So the 3 peer cities that really stood out to us were Austin. Our city and community have gone to Austin to learn about this community workforce plan. It really has all of its ducks in a row, very focused on upskilling and job placement. Cincinnati Works is very barrier focused. It's really interesting. It's privately funded. I'll go into that in a minute, but it's very metric driven, right? It is ROI driven, metric driven, track record of success, strong employers. And then West Michigan, the Grand Rapids area, has just gone digital, right, with a software that's interactive and connecting. And so those were the 3 that really stood out to us. I'm going to take a deeper dive into Cincinnati. So next slide, please. The Cincinnati Works model is something that I think we should further explore. It's nothing like we really have in our community in the sense that it is a mostly privately funded 501c3 whose mission is to eliminate poverty. They do this by focusing on addressing barriers and placing participants into jobs. And they have developed strategic and very trusted relationships with these local businesses. They have about a $4 million budget. Again, it's private except for a $250,000 donation from the city. It's really important to note because private money is much easier to spend, as we have all learned. So it's able to address things more nimbly. The results is this organization is very results driven. Clients can come back for any time. They largely serve people with barriers. They placed 468 people into employment since just in 2019. So this is something that we want to further investigate. Charlotte Works recently did asset mapping project, which will help us understand who's really giving and doing this wraparound barriers approach in our community today. I just want to put it out there. I don't think the city needs to be leading solving barriers, but we can build capacity in the ecosystem to do this work. Because it could be childcare, it could be transportation, it could be mental health, it could be, technology. There's a lot of barriers that people face, and so this really addresses that.
Hey, Fran, stop right there. I want to get some reaction from the committee. Maybe right direction, got questions. Initial thought, Councilmember Graham, just initial thought.
I think all the information is really good baseline information. So I think we're really setting a good foundation to do more of the specific items that we need to do. So I'm really impressed with the baseline information that we're receiving.
Thank you.
Vice Chair? Good. Ms. Wallace?
I just had a couple of foundational questions on this City Works model. I think that's great. I like the 4 areas that you guys are, the way you're thinking about it. As far as the City Works model, where you say that it's mostly privately funded, as I understand it, Charlotte Works, a lot of our money comes from the federal government.
Yes.
So how then, and maybe you don't know this yet because you said you were going to start doing a deep dive, but this particular model, does it utilize that same federal budget? Or?
It doesn't use the federal budget, but I'm just going to throw this out here because Charlotte Works isn't here. I'm sure they're watching. Hi, guys. But if Charlotte Works wanted to take this on, it could be another arm of their organization, right? That's privately funded, perhaps. I don't know the ins and outs of the WIOA funding. However, I don't think we need to stand up necessarily a new organization, but I think that there are people in our community who are passionate about doing this work, who know a lot about the barriers people face to getting a job and staying in a job, and that we could take some of the lessons learned in the metric and the data-driven approach and let our partners take on this body of work, and maybe we can give them that additional capacity as one of a potential outcome that I may see being recommended.
Because I think about our Goodwill Opportunity Campus, and I'm wondering if that plus Charlotte Works could somehow...
Right. Mm-hmm. I think there's going to be, and you'll see on my next slide, kind of like some of the key takeaways. So if you can go to the next slide, please.
Before we do that, I got 2 more committee members. I just want to get their thumbs up. Councilmember Johnson, Councilmember Ashmere. We on the right path?
We're on the right path. This is great information.
Councilmember Ashmere. Okay. Go right ahead. I think.
No, you're fine. So here's some key takeaways that we learned. The workforce ecosystem is structured differently in every state and city, and that can pose challenges or opportunities trying to just completely mimic a process. Like for Austin, they may have different levels under one umbrella than we do in Charlotte. Charlotte has the framework for successful workforce programs, and we're currently exploring better service delivery and alignment. There are new initiatives in our community that we need to further investigate, like what I talked about, the work that Met County's doing, what you mentioned on West Boulevard, Councilmember Mitchell, and I want to learn more about that. But then there are also programs that specifically address barriers with private funding that could be a strategic addition to our community. I think at the end of the day, my key takeaway is that this team, we develop customized solutions for our clients. That's what we do. And in this role, our clients are the unemployed, particularly those in areas of underinvestment. And so we're going to use data to create a solution we're going to test, right? At the end of the day, we're going to dig deeper into understanding who is unemployed and is it really barriers? Maybe it's something else, but the data today is really pointing us in this direction. But there's also work to be done in making sure, to my earlier point, that people in our community know where to go for resources and that we're connecting those resources like Charlotte Works, Goodwill, Urban League to the jobs, right? So making sure, Councilmember Mitchell, what you said earlier, that process is in place. So we're going to, again, do a deeper dive on the Cincinnati model and really look into, we're kicking off the work with EY today to really understand the unemployment data. So with that, I'm going to transition over to Scott Darnell, who Tracy introduced earlier, to really start to talk about some of the peer city research we have done around city contracting policy and workforce development.
Scott, welcome, sir.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks for the opportunity. Look forward to working with everyone.
Let's go to the next slide, I think.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Quickly, Fran pointed out a lot of these cities were looked at for different reasons, but we'll talk about some specific things that came out of each one. Next slide, please. A couple of meetings ago, there was a tremendous presentation by Holder, Edison, and Leaper regarding some of the construction projects they partnered with and some of the workforce development opportunities that have come out of that. One thing we know, there's tremendous success in Charlotte and the region. Construction's a growing industry sector, not only in Charlotte, but a lot of other cities. So we wanted to take a look at this huge employment opportunity going forward and how to really build off the success of the Holder, Edison, Leaper model, Ron's energy and passion. We saw that come through. How do we capture that, and what are some best practices out there? And we looked at two. One was something Denver's been doing. Denver, like Charlotte, has tremendous growth opportunities. They're seeing over the next years 30,000 jobs in the construction industry, and they came together in a public-private model and said, how do we capture that for our citizens and connect some of these different areas we've been discussing? They're looking at these opportunities like Charlotte as a career path promise. You may start with a job, but the construction industry has tremendous growth potential, not only from a development standpoint, but as well as a career and wage standpoint. They've looked at the aligning of their partners and created a pipeline. The Denver model had a tremendous apprenticeship model in place. So on certain city-led contracts, there's a mandate that 15% of construction hours are utilized by apprentices. And out of those 15% of hours, 25% of those 15% of the hours is targeted to certain areas of the city with higher unemployment or different barriers, and another 15% is dedicated to first-year apprentices. Again, they've got a tremendous infrastructure with apprentice models, and they have the capacity and partnerships in place to move that forward. The second thing is they're looking at the barrier approach in specific areas, and every public contract is applicable to the strategy, sits down with a hiring partner, like a Charlotte Works model, and they develop a long-term hiring plan, and then the providers see over the next couple of years where they're going to need the skills and the talent, and they address the programmatic infrastructure of training and or the candidates to a pipeline approach of employment. Some of these projects at the airport in Denver, they're 5-year projects. So they're seeing, like in year 2, we're going to need to hire 150 electricians. Are our training programs adequate? If not, can we start training programs? Let's overcome barriers and get those with the barriers entered into the training programs, and then they create a pipeline with success. They've used boot camp approaches, 4 weeks of training. As Councilman Mitchell knows, safety is a huge part of the construction industry. They're going through 4-week boot camps Their barriers are addressed before those boot camps. And many of these employees are being hired after 4 weeks in the boot camp. They're probably leaving with OSHA training, safety training, and the construction industry seeing a well-qualified, willing employee, and many of them, even though 13 is the minimum, are being hired at $17 to $18 an hour out of these programs. In the last piece, they're trying to use these programs and targeted approaches to address those with barriers in different parts of the city, that may need special attention to connecting those candidates with these opportunities of the construction industry. Great success, a lot of interesting things taking place. It's a pilot project where they've done it for 3 years, and then they're coming back probably soon do we readdress this, do we look at any things in a different fashion. So Denver's doing a lot of great things, but a lot of the similar things that we heard from Holder, Edison, and Leaper, but a little bit more of an alignment with primary data and great partnerships in the public and private sector. Before I move forward to Nashville, any questions on this?
Scott, you got me excited over here, man. This is staff. This is great work. So let me make sure I get the percentages correctly. 15% hours for apprentice. Was that one figure you shared with us? So
15%. Some of the eligible projects, it was 15% of the construction hours were to be filled by apprenticeships.
Got it.
And, Councilman, I don't know the ecosystem of apprenticeships in Charlotte yet, but it seemed like 20-plus different groups had been doing apprenticeship models for a while in Denver. And I think they felt confident that supply was there.
Good.
And the private sector partners were utilizing those anyway. And they're just reinforcing what's already in place. But definitely it's creating a long-term pipeline to get those entry-level employees in the apprenticeships, and then the incumbent side of stepping the entry-level up to mid-skilled and, a lot of the past you see in the construction industry. So very well thought out, but again, it utilized the private-public foundation that we're going to fill 30,000 jobs over the next few years with public and private sector work.
Scott, I think the Denver model is great, and I think the fact of boot camps, you're right. Someone who lives in that construction world every day, safety is our number one priority. But I think this is type of policy that all of us can get excited about, because 30,000 jobs that we can put our citizens to work, just saying hypothetically, but we'll make a strong statement for the city council that we are trying to own the space. Tracy and I had a brief conversation. Was it Saturday or Sunday? I can't remember this weekend.
Falls together.
But we talked about the city having a bigger role, playing a bigger role in job creation. And so thank you, sir. This is, I thought Holder, Leaper, and Edison Ford was a great model, particularly at the airport, because they'll be there for another 5 years. And so, but having something like this in place, I think is a great step for us. Even like the fact you said that $13 is and up, but most of them are hired at 17 and 18. So I think we check that box as well as providing a living wage for our citizens. And last but not least, I'm biased to the construction, but the construction industry is always looked upon as opportunity to get a second chance for some of our citizens to earn a living. And I think all of us sometimes we need a second chance. So I'm going to shut up, get up my soapbox, but this is good work. How much we paying Scott? Okay, this is good work.
And the second one, let's touch on Nashville real quick. Nashville has done something very similar. Initially, when they constructed the partnership with their construction, they wanted to mandate that 40% of employees on the public works over 100,000 were Davidson County citizens, and 10% of the 40% would be targeted to high unemployment areas. That did not pass, but the partnership moved forward. It's a lot like Denver. I don't think it's as apprenticeship driven in Nashville as Denver, of course. There's a tremendous barrier focus. We're seeing success with that. And being the South, There's a tremendous push for faith-based partnerships in Nashville. Places of worship from the last recession became a big part of community improvement, and Nashville recognizes that and looks for the faith-based partnerships as a model with their public and private sector approach. So similar, but definitely both communities seeing growth in the construction industry. And as Councilmember Mitchell pointed out, a lot of opportunity, a lot of different things being done that's already in place, and two good models to look upon as the tremendous growth of Charlotte continues.
Did you say next slide?
Yeah, next slide.
From the Austin model, looking at a lot of different communities, Austin has done a great job spelling out a lot of different things with their workforce development, economic development, infrastructure growth. But one of the things Austin did is they put bonus incentives in place. And they at one point had a group that said, here's our priority in certain areas. And a lot of the discussion that's taken place and the things Fran pointed out were important to Austin as well. And through a council resolution, they had a bonus incentive. They've taken their traditional incentive model. You will help us making sure we connect the different pieces in these other parts of our community. We're going to look at a bonus incentive, and they've spelled that bonus incentive out for economically disadvantaged, the ex-offenders, different contract construction worker approaches, and then even on-site daycare, which is, a potential barrier we've looked at as well. So great city, great competitor, but at the same time, they've spelled out that these are our priorities, and we're willing to be a partner with you. But if you can help us build a better community by addressing these areas, we'll look at additional incentives in the right framework to address that as well. So something good to think about.
Hey, Scott, real quick, and Fran is very familiar with this issue, or this barrier, providing on-site daycare, because one time we got very excited when Chime was talking about offering.
Yes.
So this is a real issue for some of our citizens. And Fran, that's when we created a pilot. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I would add to that. That is one of the challenges that a lot of our residents face to keeping and getting a job is childcare. I think that that's something that a lot of work is happening in our community around today. But as we start to think about how areas of our town and city are developed, are we taking that into consideration? And that'll be part of that barrier work, and especially on our corridors, making sure that there's quality childcare available to people as part of that wraparound services, and really looking at our community partners for that work. One thing I do want to hit on, Scott, really quickly is the bonus incentive. I just want to remind everyone of the Opportunity Hiring Grant Program, which is that we are piloting this year that really helps address this, and you do get a bonus if you hire from our workforce development partners. Next slide.
Back over to you.
All right. Well, with that, I'll just wrap this up really quickly. Some of the things that we learned, thanks, Scott, for all of your research and advisement on this, is that, incentivize versus mandate. We know that in Charlotte, industry-led initiatives that are supported by the public sector are far more successful than mandated ones. Construction appears to be the most effective industry to launch or implement a policy around this kind of work. The labor demand is strong. Training programs are in place. And you could have a lot of barriers to employment and still be able to get into the construction industry. I think my biggest takeaway is really, what's our priority? Determine our priority and leverage our tools to meet our goals, whether that's job creation, investment, location, hiring practices. But then more research is needed, especially on this one. Sitting down with our our attorneys, general services, CBI, and really putting all of that brain power in a room together. when we initially, we know we need to focus this on our policy, but, what can we do within statutes when it comes to TIGs? But there are, CIP initiatives, CIP projects. We build a lot in the city. And so really looking at that partnership to create that flexible menu that's going to get us the results that we want quickly.
So staff, I'm gonna try to take some pressure off you and the committee. I think it'd be good if we provided some direction instead of them researching more cities. Then maybe we can have staff to spend their time fine tuning a new policy for us. So is everyone comfortable with staff moving forward on the Denver model? Can we go back and put the two models up there? And one thing I like what you did, staff, you compared us with city actually our size, Denver and Nashville. And so, committee, what are your thoughts? Because I don't want staff to feel like they got to research other cities, but we can kind of tell them, hey, can you focus on Denver, tweak it more towards Charlotte? So that's my thought in committee. Wade, I'm gonna start with Councilmember Johnson. Your thoughts?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize my phone wasn't on mute. That sounds fine. I actually had a question about something else, so I'll wait until you're finished taking this poll.
Okay.
That's okay.
But you're okay? You're okay with Denver? Okay, I think she said yes. Vice Chair.
I mean, is that what you guys are at? Do you want to pick one of the models, or do you want to use those as benchmarks and come back to us with this is the Charlotte model?
I think that what we need to do is I do think the Denver model has a lot of things that we like about it. We need to test it out with our workforce development partners to make sure that the pipeline and the training programs are strong enough to support that need.
Perfect.
To Councilmember Carr's point, everything that we do is going to be customized for Charlotte, right? If we just took Denver and plopped it here, I don't know that it would be successful.
Right.
I think that that's part of a bigger strategy about how we're going. I mean, these are going to be entry-level jobs in a high-demand industry. And so kind of taking the lessons learned from Denver, what they're doing really well,
That's right.
and pairing it with what we know about that industry in Charlotte and our employment partners in Charlotte.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that answers probably the general question, which is all of that stuff is great research and benchmarking, and you all guys will pilot with our partners the stuff and you'll figure out what makes sense, and then in doing so, you'll figure out the Charlotte market. This is such a huge topic that, you really have to break it down to, on one side, there's the jobs, and then there's the workforce development part of it, right? Which are two completely separate topics that have to connect, but they're two different initiatives. Within the jobs, you've got small, medium, and large companies creating the jobs and net new companies you bring to town versus those who exist here that you help grow. Within the workforce, you've got, everything from, a very entry-level kind of rudimentary job all the way up to a complex one and how you connect them. So, my only suggestion would be, in my experience, these things work better connecting end-to-end everything, but choosing a sliver of a path. Because if you try to do it all, it'd be impossible. If you try to do one thing that's sitting here, you end up being a point solution that probably isn't optimized because you don't have all the other connection points to it. So I guess in general, my recommendation would be choose some niche-y things, but make sure they connect end to end and see what you come up with.
So, Councilmember Carr, you're still in a little bit of our thunder for the end, which is good. No, it's good. It's good because that means we're all starting to go into the same direction. And I agree with Fran. It's not like we can pick up something from another city and just plop it here. I think it has to make sense. But what you'll hear us talk about at the end is more of this comprehensive sense of everything, if you will.
Councilman Graham.
He just took my point. I think that's a great foundation to start from. It's a great starting point. Obviously, it has to be customized for Charlotte in terms of working with our agencies on the ground. But certainly, it's a model that we can kind of pick and choose from in terms of what works for us. Obviously, again, I think that the most critical part is making sure that the end users, those agencies that we'll be working with and we're going to need, kind of buying into what we want to do. I think if that doesn't happen, then it's like, kind of wasting our time.
Excellent point. Councilmember Ashmere? Okay.
Yes, I agree with this model. So will there be a pilot?
Well, I don't want, I think everyone said it best. I don't want to say right now what we'll call it. I'd rather get staff those directions, say, the research is all over, here's a great framework. Now let's talk to our partners and make sure from A to Z, we have a plan. So I don't want to put staff on spot and say, we're going to call it a pilot.
Got it. Well, we just have to test it to see if it works. So, I mean, we gotta have a couple of pilots to see if this works for the city of Charlotte or not. I know it has worked in Denver, but unless and until we test it, we will not know what kind of results. So I'm okay with us doing a pilot and figuring out, just like we had done with our Project Peace program, which was very successful. So I think doing a pilot and just providing us the results will help us make a decision on whether we do this every year or every 6 months.
Thank you. Councilman Watlington, you and I had a presentation on workforce, and we realized how passionate Mr. Leeper was. So your thoughts about this program?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm very happy to see this as a discussion, that there's been work against it. I'm excited about this one. As you guys already know, District 3 in particular has a great need for this. So I just had a couple of quick follow-up questions, or not follow-up, I'll say questions and thoughts. I do like what I've seen so far as the Denver model, and I'm not necessarily opposed to adding a couple of things from the other models too. But anyway, I did want to talk a little bit about the growth or opportunity, and maybe this is what Councilmember Bakari was getting at and what you all talk about here in a little bit. But I think about how do we take not only folks that are going into these entry-level construction jobs, but then how do we grow their capacity if they say, well, you know what, I want to be a contractor, and how does that fall into our business development and capacity building type programs? So I'd like to see us connect those dots as we think about economic mobility from start to finish. Not necessarily that it has to be in this particular program, but how do those dots get connected for someone who may have a passion to go into entrepreneurship from these skills. The other thing I was thinking about, and I know that we talked about this last week with the announcements of Center for Employment Opportunities, but this idea of daily payment, as we think about other barriers that come up for folks who may need to, I think about the airport, for instance. You may get on at the airport, but by the time you get security clearance, you would be able to get hired faster and start working street side, if you will, versus the airport. And so I think about some of the needs that people may have to get paid on a daily basis. So I'm just throwing that out there as a potential barrier that we might want to prepare for. And then finally, I've had some discussions in my tours with some of our workforce development partners about this idea of people coming out of the program and not necessarily having exactly right. Yep. And I know that is where some of the opportunity hiring grant rationale came from. And so I'm just wondering if it's possible for us to do some more digging, I think, to Councilmember Graham's point, with our employment partners and find out what else do they need. And then I was just thinking, if there is anybody that's already an employment partner in Denver that also has a presence here in Charlotte, maybe they would be good people to target to start to work with on the front end because they're already somewhat accustomed to doing this type of thing. So those are my thoughts.
You know, I think it's interesting that you bring up the placement rate into full-time jobs. I had a long conversation with Charlotte Works on Friday about that. And Councilmember Mitchell, I think it's back to the process point, right? Y'all know I'm an engineer. I like numbers. I like data. So we are really going to start looking at some metrics, right? So if we make a job announcement, I want to know how many people we placed versus you going on an Indeed website, right? Like, really start to dig into the data and the metrics to make sure that everyone's successful, everyone is doing the best that they can, and if it's not working, why? And how do we fix it? That's a big passion of mine in this work.
Thanks, everyone. So the research is over.
The research is over.
Research is over.
Okay, so let's keep going to the next slide at the end of this series, initiatives we're trying in Charlotte. So keep going, next slide. Next slide. There we go. So we did a lot of peer city research, and I think it's important to talk about what we're doing. So we have a couple of initiatives that are very new to our team that we're trying in Charlotte. So one of those is what we call the customized talent acquisition strategies. I know we've talked about this, but our team, the business recruitment and retention team, our goal is to develop trusted relationships. And when we have companies who come to us for incentives, what that ends up doing is we get very close with these companies through that process, through that recruitment process, and we become a trusted partner of theirs. That allows us to co-create customized talent acquisition strategies to talk about how we bring our partners to the table, to promote local hiring, to hosting career fairs and getting them in the door at our local educational partners. And, also talking to them about, hey, I know you said you want a 4-year degree, but do you really need a 4-year degree? Like really working with them to challenge maybe some of their thoughts. So we're doing that. Opportunity Hiring Grant, that's a pilot that we launched this spring, where we really like to leverage that with the state's customized community college training grant program to partner to upskill people at CPCC that we source through our workforce development partners, to upskill them and to put them in jobs. That's a $2,500 cash grant per employee. We have a Thrive Hiring Grant. That's a part of our Open for Business initiative you'll hear about in a moment from Holly. But it's incentivized the hiring of residents into new jobs during this pandemic. We're going to pay out a bonus if the jobs are on our corridors. And then corridors of opportunity. So this was, Tracy really brought this new to the game throughout this work of really doing a comprehensive strategy to look at chronic unemployment, right? Putting people into jobs that pay a family sustaining wage, lead to a career path, and address the barriers that keep them there. So we're really doing a deep dive with our consultant at Ernst & Young. So next slide. And here's what we're finding. Incentivize participation, engagement, and innovation. This really leads to trusted relationships and mutual success. Determining our priority and innovating to find new ways to meet our goals. So whether it's local hiring, job creation, investment, or location, Tracy Dodson has told us you have got to find a way to do it. So thinking outside the box, maybe we're constrained by state statute on our business investment grants, but what other things can we do to do this? Y'all know we love a good pilot project. So Councilmember Ajmira, when you mentioned pilot earlier, I did not want to say yes, but we love a pilot. So look at creative ways to address very specific opportunities. Being general just doesn't always work. And then my favorite is entrepreneurial. If we want different outcomes, we've got to be willing to try new approaches. So go ahead.
Now, Fran, I got to give you credit. So we're going to change your name to Fran Pilot West. Because if you all can remember, I think we've had 3 pilot programs under Fran's leadership, and they have all worked. From business recruitment, we tried. It was successful. Time Solution with the hiring was successful. So continue to do a good job, Fran Pilot West.
Thank you.
Just really quick, I think that goes to something that's more citywide, where we spend a lot of time just studying, analyzing, and sometimes we just need to try some things. And we need to get out of this mode and just see what works. And again, the way that we've taken the approach are like corridors. No 2 corridors are the same. And so everything is, our team, and Fran has said it, our team is customized. It's about customer service, and it's about being customized. It's not a one size fits all, unless if we're looking at 2 different cities, or we're looking at 2 different corridors, or just 2 different communities within our city. So,
yeah, and I think that, as I've been talking and learning about our workforce ecosystem, we're doing great work. There's a lot of really good work by very passionate and really smart people in this community, but there's still some new things we can try, right? And so really leaning in with our partners to figure out what those new approaches are going to be and just do it. Because, so what? What if we fail, right? But what if we're super successful? but you won't know until you try. So next slide. So what we learned. So in summary, which is where we are now, we've really got to look at the barriers. So our community, not the city, our community needs to solve for barriers to help our unemployed residents get and keep a job. And we think this is going to require very strong public-private partnerships. This is an opportunity for us to potentially lean in and build capacity. First and foremost, it just didn't fit in a little box. Our metrics are essential and innovation is necessary. So we have got to create solutions based on data that are easily measured for success. So for example, people placed in jobs is number one. How many people are we placing in jobs? What are their barriers? Why, how did it work? One of the things in my reading of Cincinnati Works is the duration of their job and wage correlation. We all talk about a living wage, a family employment wage, all of these wages. My team struggles with what should that wage be? But really doing some research and, duration and job and that correlation to what people are getting paid for their family size, to start doing some very specific Charlotte research on that. The barriers addressed, and then what's our return on investment? So we need to be willing to, like I just said, innovative approaches to solve a decades-old problem and consider a pilot.
I knew that was coming.
Can I say that word enough?
Fran, but let me just add something too. And I want to make sure we speak in two languages. One is language among the staff and council when you say matrix. I think for the community, though, the language they like to hear is community benefits agreement. That is the community saying these are benefits we think are important and our corridors for our community. And the best one I've researched so far has been Nashville, Tennessee, but it might have been others. So if you can look at Nashville, I think community language is community benefits agreement. Our language is matrix and outcomes. So
Councilman Mitchell, I'm gonna push back on you a little bit there,
Okay.
challenge you a little bit there, because, and the only reason I want to is because literally over the past probably 3 weeks, I've heard multiple different departments start to talk about CBAs, and they're all talking about it in different ways in different realms. And so the way that I look at a CBA is on a P3, a larger P3. So you referenced Nashville.
Right.
There's some that Nashville's done around Major League Soccer. But then some other departments, as we talk about CBAs, they're much smaller and different. And so
Okay.
the only reason I point that out is because I want to be very intentional about the language. If we start talking in our community about community benefits agreements, which I'm not saying are a bad thing,
Right.
we just need to be very intentional about what that means at all levels, because
agree.
I can see this train coming down the tracks and it's going to create a lot of confusion for a lot of people internally
Right.
as well as externally. So
we agree to disagree because I think we're talking about the same thing.
All right, so can I move on?
I think we have a tendency in our community, and Mayor brought this up almost 2 retreats, that our language matters to the community. And sometimes our language is not, I ain't gonna say not appropriate, the community don't engage and don't understand it as well. So I'm glad staff is talking about the community benefits agreement. I just want to make sure, though, we can translate or make sure the community understand we hear what they're saying is benefits to the community. At the same time, we check as one of our matrix. So let's just continue to have the conversation to get everybody comfortable. But I just want to make sure we both are saying the right language, meaning we trying to move the community.
That's absolutely
we're
right.
gonna
We're agreeing. It's just one of those things that, again, depending on which committee you're on or things like that,
That's
it's
true.
going to start to pop up, and it could pop up in a lot of different ways, which I'm just fearful could create some confusion or sometimes competing initiatives of parameters around it.
Your middle name is called collaboration, so I'm confident. Ms. Watlington?
I've got a couple questions, unless you've got another slide that pertains to this.
I do.
Okay,
Yep.
then I'll wait for my.
Okay.
The last two are incentivizing participation. So how do we reward the companies that partner with the city to invest our goals? Build off that Denver model. How do we take these industry-led efforts and turn them into much broader programs? And then building connections with existing industry. I think that this is extremely important. You know, our team is lean and mean, and developing and strengthening those relationships with existing businesses in Charlotte to understand their labor needs. Whether they have 5 people or 5,000 people, we need to source those job opportunities and be very strategic in connecting our partners with them. And I also think it's also that opportunity for y'all in this room to really make sure that your residents and your constituents know where to go. And know about Charlotte Works and the great work that they're doing. So to your point, Ms. Councilmember Washington, like this are kind of like what we have learned, which is going to shape what we're about to show. So if your questions are about this in particular.
Well, you tell me, I'll ask you if
Okay.
better for next time. Okay, so a couple of things. As far as the talent acquisition strategies, how do we tether the incentives to their work downstream? I know that we vote to partner with these companies and give them money, but after that, I know that the talent acquisition work continues. But at that point, have we lost? I don't want to say have we lost. What is their skin in the game, if you will, at that point to continue down? I just want to understand what our continued or ongoing leverage is with the companies down the line. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that they're necessarily leverage in the sense that I cannot, for a business investment grant, mandate local hiring. It's against our state statutes. However, what we do is, I would say, I still talk to Honeywell, Lowe's, Avid Exchange, Lending Tree, announcements from 2019 and 2018 every other week, right? How's it going? Checking in, connecting, making those connections. You know, since we've announced Centene, I have every other week a call with their EVP of HR and her team about integrating into the community, where they're going to source their talent. Is it experienced talent? Is it new talent? Questioning, you know, the degree programs and things like that. So I don't know that it's leverage, but I would say that those relationships are extremely strong. And they are so appreciative, and they want to work with us and with our partners.
So let me just add to that, because a comment was made to me last week that the attitude of the city is win jobs at all costs, or business recruitment. And it's really not. We're really focused, even when we bring, it's a customer service kind of client-based relationship that we build, as Fran mentioned, but we're also very intentional with the companies that we bring. So one of the great things about Centene wasn't the number of jobs, wasn't the investment number. Those are great, but it was about the jobs were largely going to be local hires. It was about that they had an upskilling opportunity on campus. They had daycare on campus. So a lot of these companies, Chime Solutions is another one, we look at them as what is the benefit for our community before we even start building that relationship with them. And so, again, if we're thoughtful about that, the hope is when we bring them to you guys, while we can't hook certain things in policy or mandate certain things by policy, you have enough trust in us that we're recruiting the right type of companies that really are growing this bigger initiative. Now, a Honeywell was a little bit different, but a Honeywell was a unicorn. And Honeywell was something that was going to further put us on the map for tech jobs and things like that. And so you kind of have to evaluate each one as they come. But I just want to, it's important that y'all know when we're talking to these companies, it's not just like, oh, you want to come to Charlotte? You want to look at Charlotte? Come on. Like, we'll open the coffers and here you go. That's not the intent. We're really trying to be intentional about the priorities that are set forth from council and the community as a whole.
Yeah, and I'll use an example. We're recruiting a company right now, and today they told me that they really hire from HBCUs. And I was like, oh, you do? How?
Show me the numbers.
Tell me a little bit about this.
You got 2 graduates.
Hey, I'm using this example strategically. Don't get me wrong. But
You
when
got
they
JCSU over here in North Carolina Central now.
You also got A&T sitting over.
Oh, I'm sorry, and Aggie Pride. Oh.
I regress.
but you know when
Councilman Graham, excellent point.
but you know like this, you know it's something that a lot of people say. But I want to know your numbers. How many people do you have on board who've actually graduated from HBCU? Like how are you being intentional about that instead of just saying this? You know. because we want to understand that, because that tells us the character. You know, we call incentives investments. We're going to invest in you, and we want to know what our ROI is beyond just a number of jobs and a number for investment. So we dig deep, and we, you know, and really challenge those companies with questions to really make sure that they're the fit that we want in our city.
To that end, if I may, incentive, you spoke to it a little bit already. I want to hear a little more about your thoughts. When I think about incentives from a market standpoint, right, it's got to be something that the company wants to do because it's going to drive their benefits, right, rather than, hey, will you do this for us as a favor, and we'll give you this money. So can you talk a little bit about how we understand what the companies need? I know that you personally, it sounds like, are having conversations with the companies. How do we leverage for instance, our universities or other places that we can really understand what is it that's driving our market and those kinds of things?
So I think that when we talk about incentives, there's clearly the one that we vote on, right? Business investment grants. However, you know, I say now, talent wins the war. So, you know, one of the things that Emily has really worked hard with on our team is how are our universities also creating these customized approaches. To Tracy's point, you know, nothing is the same. Every company we pitch, Sweet Alyssa makes a separate pitch deck for, like, everything is different and customized. And so we're really started looking also with our community partners. So looking at UNC Charlotte, JCSU, CPCC, our boot camps, our, you know, Charlotte Works, and how we're customizing that approach just as a community. Because that really matters to companies, because, you know, we can give them all the money in the world, but if they can't hire great people, they're not going to stay or be successful. And so really, you know, Tracy and I have had a lot of conversations about how do we elevate our ecosystem to really create that client-centered, high customer service, high touch, because that's going to yield the best results for our residents. I don't know if that answers your question specifically, but that's where I think that this community is really going and evolving into.
I'll just add to that. I mean, I think we are a unique model in kind of how we are approaching it because it is so customized. It's hard to say that there's a one-size-fits-all. I mean, some of it has been talent. Some of the conversations we've had around incentives have been mobility. You know? Sometimes it's real estate. So it varies each time, and what we try to do is be nimble and be creative with them. And again, I go back to, I think doing that ensures this longer-term relationship where it's not just, hey, city, county, write me a check to come here. No, it's, okay, I feel like somebody's investing in me, and so now I'm ready to invest in the community. And so it sets up a longer-term partnership. I'll go back to the Centene example. I think a lot of the work that we did with Centene early on, before we even got to announcement, they started asking questions about philanthropic work. Where can we invest? Early childhood education was incredibly important to them. And so they started digging into that before the announcement, before their first shovel was in the ground. But that was also because we spent a tremendous amount of time with them on the front end, trying to eliminate some of the barriers for them. And when I mean barriers is one of the first things they said, the CEO said to both Fran and I was, we have an incredibly strict timeline for construction. How can you help us there? So it wasn't money there. It was, that was their trigger. They wanted to know they weren't going to get caught up in permitting issues and things like that were going to delay them months, potentially even years on a campus this size. And so we still work with them hand in hand every single week. That was an incentive that got them here, but then now has them thinking about deeper investments into our community.
One more follow-up question to that, and thank you for that. That did answer my question. That gave it a little color. As you think about this suite of services, or if you will, I think you've said before, like a concierge and really providing that expertise, is there anything that where are areas of opportunity that we need to build in our toolbox? Sounds like we understand very clearly some of the things that sit in our house, like permitting, like you just said, and even from a workforce development standpoint, how do we get talent? But is there anything else that we need to build into that customer service suite?
You're closest to it.
You know, it's a great question. No one ever asked me that. It's more like, why are you taking so long? So I think that, I think there's a lot of things that we can do. I think customer service and I think that we're good there, to be honest. I think where I want to see us grow is more along on the talent side. One of the things, we just did a tech talent study and that we were talking about last week is how does Charlotte become a hub for women and minorities in tech? And so what does that look like from an investment standpoint? That's really going to be an incentive for companies to come to Charlotte because, you know, there's not a lot of women and minorities in tech, right? In STEM, period. So, like, I think that, you know, there's a lot of opportunities for Charlotte. Maybe it's not customer service related, but it's very, you know, this segues, you know, both existing industry deep dives and really build, you know, we build strong relationships with new companies. I wish I had the capacity to build that relationship with every existing large employer in Charlotte. We don't have that capacity. But secondly, you know, having someone in the community doesn't necessarily have to be our team, but really leading an effort, especially if we're going to continue to emerge as a tech town. How do we become that hot spot for women and minorities in tech?
So I'll add kind of to that question. Grow. One of the things I would say is I think we've started a new model for how we interact and this whole customized approach. It's new, I think, for the city. But it's also new, city in this organization, but it's also new for us in our region, I would say, to an extent. And so when it comes to business recruitment and jobs and what Fran is talking about, I think how do we grow those partnerships? How do we bring others to the table that have that same belief so that when a company comes in and looks at Charlotte, it is a seamless team of a lot of different organizations. And we have a lot of great partners here. And we've had a lot of great partners that we've brought to the table. We also have others that we look at and we say, up your game, you know, because this is so hands-on and this is very much a roll up your sleeves. We always say announcements are great, but the real work starts after the announcements. And then the other thing, which I'll hit a little bit more on in just a second with the next slide, is how do we expand this approach into other areas? Real job growth is not just Fran's work, but it's also Holly's work on small business. And so how do we bring this ecosystem in and more unite the ecosystem into a place where we can grow the jobs in that way? So it's a lot of different like lenses, I think, that we put on it, but we definitely do need to grow it and want to grow it.
Just one plug. National Society of Black Engineers, Charlotte Professionals. We are in the city and we want to work with you.
Okay, great.
Good plug.
All right, let's go to the next slide.
Before we move on, can I ask a question? I'm sorry.
That's right, Councilman Johnson. Councilman Johnson, I was coming to you next. Go ahead, Councilman Johnson.
That's okay. Thank you. I had a couple questions. I had asked, can we go way back, and we may not need to, but take a look at the map for the corridors of opportunities. You really don't have to take a look at it. I can ask the questions without it. So are we working, or is your department, Tracy, working with the zoning department, or when we're looking at location? It takes me back to a council meeting last week where we're looking at a large plot of land for a really large employer. And we're looking at rezoning a residential area to a manufacturing area for these jobs. But it seems like if we have a high demand in another area, and we have that large connecting space, we would take a look at these areas when we create jobs. So I want to know what the connection is. Is zoning at the table when we're recruiting employers?
So
Next. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that is a great segue into our next slide. I'm going to give you the quick answer. Is zoning at the table when we're recruiting employers? It depends. It depends on that particular employer, where they are. Sometimes they come to the table with a site in hand. Sometimes they say, tell me what there is. It's all different kind of things. But before I go into this slide, I want to go back in time. Some of you all will remember this. Some may not. But a little over 2 years ago, we did survey work about the department and what the perception of the department was. I'm looking at Councilman Mitchell, Councilman Bakari in particular, because I know y'all will remember this. And what we found is that the team and economic development for the city was somewhat reactive and really did not have much voice. As we grew our strategic plan, we developed around 4 areas: great places, talent development, business recruitment, and business innovation. And what we all said was these are interconnected. Well, these are interconnected largely because of jobs and employment. And I was having a conversation with a department director last week or the week before, and the comment, because they were making land use and mobility decisions without the acknowledgement or reference to jobs and employment. And I was on them about, why are you not talking to, employers? Why are you not talking to building owners and people, just, and the response I got was, well, economic development hasn't really had a strong voice in these discussions before. Let me fast forward to last week. I was sitting in a committee meeting, and our assistant city manager, Taiwo, was talking about the comprehensive plan, and he was talking about mobility plans, and we were talking, I think we referenced the Center City 2040 vision plan. All these plans and all these land use plans and all these mobility plans are sitting out here. They don't incorporate a comprehensive jobs plan. Right. And so what's happened, I think, and what we've done is we have these one-offs. How does Fran recruit businesses in those jobs? How do we deal with employment in corridors? How do we look at it with small business? And it's very piecemeal. How do we deal with jobs with high barriers? We don't have a comprehensive approach to employment and jobs in this community. And so therefore it doesn't inform things like the comprehensive plan or how we do work when we recruit businesses and identify places where we want to put these employers, like Councilmember Johnson was just mentioning. And so one of the big ahas that I have really come to over the past couple of weeks and the team doing this work is we need a comprehensive plan for jobs, and we need it fast. It needs to inform our land use planning and our mobility planning. It needs to inform at all different kinds of levels the jobs that we need in our community and the jobs where we have the talent that we can grow in our community as well, and how we work with businesses, how we recruit them. I mean, Fran mentioned the tech talent study. That really came off of a year and a half's worth of wins around tech talent. And what kind of talent do we really have? What kind of talent are we really recruiting? And so we've got a lot of initiatives. We've got a lot of momentum, but it's still very piecemeal. It also needs to inform how we work with our partners, from the Alliance to the CELC to Charlotte Works. We have a lot of great partners. And then lastly, what are the tools and the policies in that? So it starts to inform how we do workforce development policies with public investment. And it starts to inform CBAs and things like that. But we are missing this piece, and we are piecemealing this. And so if anything, I think that we take forward that came out of this committee work over the past month has been, we got to have something that is comprehensive. Now we are in the process of building out pieces of it. Fran's talked about the work that we're already doing in corridors, and that work is identifying sites with talent. So what are those opportunities? So Councilmember Johnson, to your point, when sites come up for rezoning and we talk about employment, especially like in industrial where we need the land use, we have better information about where the sites are and where the talent might be coming from for those types of jobs, so that as council members and you look at a rezoning, sometimes you can be more informed about into a greater detail with these. And so I think this is really important to...
She's talking, we can't hear.
I'm sorry. I was just saying that would help us tremendously, because as council members, we get this information. We're on different committees, and we can see the connection. So when we get a request for zoning where there might be some neighborhood opposition, but on the other end, we have, an area that needs these jobs. I mean, we have to start. I like your idea of the comprehensive approach, because we need it. It would help our job. It would help make our jobs easier, and it would be much more beneficial for the citizens. I also had a couple other questions. So you talked about the zoning barriers. You mentioned Chime and Centene. I want to offer District 4, the home of the job, as an area where we would welcome any pilots that you have for for any innovative solutions. And then I also, when we were talking about the the different models that we like. I do like Denver, Councilmember Mitchell, but are we going to take a look at adopting a piece from each of those cities, or are we just looking at the one model for now?
I think the committee talked about taking Denver model as the foundation and then reaching out to our partners to make sure what could fit for Charlotte.
Okay, because I would lose my Buckeye card if I didn't vote or support the Ohio models, because they were great as well.
Duly noted.
So one thing I just want to point out for Councilmember Johnson really quick, not to go off script because we still have a lot to cover, but we talked about D4 and the jobs. So we have had a lot of job announcements up there, and one of the things that we're doing now, we're recognizing, and Centene's a perfect example, can we have a pilot that connects Centene's campus, and it's more of a mobility pilot, and so that's a unique opportunity that we're looking at in terms of the number of employees and the number of jobs that might be on this campus. And we look at the research campus as a whole. How do we better connect with the light rail system up there? So again, different type of pilot, but it's connecting in all of these different ways that we're mentioning up here.
I'm sorry, and then one last thing. Councilmember Watlington, she talked about a pay a day, like work a day, pay a day model, because there are barriers when folks are hired and starting work. So if there could, almost like when someone's moving into an apartment unit, we have grants for moving costs and first month's rent and deposit. If there would be a grant, like a hiring grant, or if someone needs some car repairs or uniforms or something like that, so not a work a day, pay a day, but for someone who could accept a great job at the airport, and there might be a month before they get paid. If there was some type of upfront hiring grant or assistance or loan or small, something to help individuals cover that gap between paydays, between starting work and paydays, that could be something that might remove a barrier as well.
Thank you,
Just an idea to piggyback off what Councilmember Watlington said.
Okay.
That's all. Thank you.
Staff, you can provide just more feedback. So, team, I'm going to do a check-in, because most of us working in corporate America will find out any meeting lasts at 90 minutes. Then it has a tendency to go downhill. And so, staff, we definitely have open for business update I would like for us to cover. Is it time sensitive for the committee?
That's just an information.
Oh, information only?
We don't need to even cover
Okay.
it. You guys have it in your packet.
Okay, so committee, are we up to say we will finish up at 3:15? Because I know we have a long evening, and some of us need to go home and get prepared. So, Holly, can you work your magic, and we'll finish at 3:15.
Do you want to just finish these?
Oh, I'm sorry,
We got,
Fran.
Yeah,
Okay.
let me hit on these two last
Okay.
slides really quickly.
Thank
Next
you.
slide. So really quickly, I call it Get a Job CLT, or comprehensive plan to place people in jobs that guide the city's work, investment, and partnerships in our community. Who knows what that'll lead to? It could be a digital platform. It could be all kinds of interesting strategy. Councilmember Johnson, we're going to look at Cincinnati Works. Should we solve for barriers? Is that what we need to do? There's a lot of questions around that. Uncover those opportunities and make it connections about how do we start to get more existing jobs identified in our communities and those connections. That process you talked about, Councilmember Mitchell. And then last but not least, with the assistance of EY, we're digging deeper into our corridors of opportunity. We're going to find out who is unemployed, the challenges they face, what are the jobs needed. Do we have too much of one type? An example I use is, let's just say we have a lot of people who are between 45 and 55 unemployed, but then we've got a lot of warehouse picker and packer jobs. That doesn't necessarily line up. So does the industry meet the needs of the community? Identify those catalyst sites for new job growth on these corridors, and then recommend city policy changes and community initiatives. So last slide, next slide, please. So keeping you in the loop, this is just a rough outline of where we're going. So October 5th is going to be the report out. We're going to combine kind of the two PowerPoints we just did into a much more condensed version. But the major takeaway for that report out is really that we need to develop this comprehensive job strategy for Charlotte to inform and guide The November committee meeting, we're going to present initial findings on the corridor data, where we ended up with the Cincinnati Works, and I'll add to that the Denver model, the Get a Job CLT, that comprehensive job strategy updates, and then sourcing those new opportunities. January is really the big month for us. We're going to present a draft of that comprehensive job strategy to really inform the fiscal year 2022 budget, guide the city's effort in the community and how we're going to work with those partners. The EY work should be wrapping up, so we'll present the initial results and then the full recommendations for policy considerations. And in March, all of this work will be finalized and complete at that point. So we're going to try and advance this job strategy really quickly. I don't know how we're going to do it, but that's Tracy. We'll figure that out. So she left the room, so I'm going to put that back on her. And then, so that's really where we are. We're excited to do this work. I think it's much needed in our community. I'm excited to see how it's going to really hone in on the work that we do under business recruitment and expansion specifically. I mean, that is my baby, so I am really interested in it, but excited. And you'll see a lot more of Emily Cantrell's face than mine moving forward. But thanks for letting me present to you today.
Fran, thank you, staff. I really appreciate this. It's exciting work. And we're going to turn it over now to Ms. Holly for the Open for Business update. Holly?
Awesome. I know it takes a minute to get the slide deck up, but yes, this update will be on the survive and thrive elements of the Open for Business initiative. We've had some great successes and we continue to make progress. So I'm going to head right into the first two are survive strategy updates, and then the remaining ones are thrive. So access to capital, this is the $30 million small business grant program. To date, we have funded 1,825 small businesses for a total of $21,865,000. As you can see, the majority of those are micro businesses, and I do know that has been your priority, so we wanted to let you know that we've continued to be able to help our micro business community. 62% of those awarded are minority owned, 43% are women owned, and excuse the typo in this one here, 71% have been in business for 4 or more years. We anticipate 2 to 3 additional award cycles. I'm just going to go ahead and answer the question because everybody wants to know when the next one is. It will be next week. And then we will still be needing to send the business surveys out November to December. This is a requirement so that we can do final documentation from the CARES Act funding and how it was spent. Next slide. So this is the Small Business Partner Support Program. It's right around $2 million. And the projects were started in July, early August. We feel confident these projects will be complete by December 30th. I know that's not an option, but just to let you know, everything is on track. I'm so impressed with these projects. I cannot wait to bring some of these forward to you guys at a different time just so you can see what's happening. But you've got some examples below for time purposes. I won't go over those. Next slide. So these are the Thrive Small Business Support initiatives. So we've got the food and beverage support. We're actually calling it the Food Service Recovery Grant. Again, I want to say the first program, the $30 million Foundation for the Carolinas, is our amazing partner, and they are for these two programs as well. So the application period is currently open, and it closes October 19th at 5 p.m. We took off the max annual gross sales that you saw for the $30 million fund because a lot of our restaurants have over $2 million gross sales. And then also, we also heard a lot saying how the 25 cap to like 6 to 25 employees, the 25 was a barrier for them to apply, so we took that maximum number off. They still are required to provide a W-3 that shows the employees. This one's administered on a first-come, first-served basis. You can submit multiple applications for either if you've got different locations of your restaurant or if you own different restaurants. Let's see, the business actually needs to be physically located within the city limits. It does not have to be headquartered. And just to let you know, this one's really popular in 3 days. That's what we had received, 134 in 3 days, the first 3 days. To date, it's about 200 with 4 million in requests, and that's 200 new.
Holly, I'm going to give to Tracy, then Councilmember Ashmere. Go ahead,
So
Tracy.
just really quick, I think it's important, I don't want to create confusion, but there are instances where organizations could, or food and beverage could have applied for access to capital. So there's instances where we know, and we are cross-checking that so that people don't get 2 different grants, but that there's some crossover in that as well.
Councilmember Ashmere.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now. Go ahead, Councilmember.
No, I'm good. I don't have any questions.
Oh, okay. Okay, we just want. Okay, you just needed an update on the food and beverage support. Okay, all right.
Yes, sir. Thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome.
To Tracy's point, there is no, if you've got a $30 million award, then you would not be eligible for the food and beverage support. So we're not correct. No, there's none of that. The next program that we are launching is the hotel support. I kind of call these our hospitality initiatives. This one we plan to launch after your meeting on the 5th, so October 6th. The business or the hotel must show there's been a 25% decrease in revenue, and that is easy to do based on some county forms that they have to file every month. And then the awards will be based on the number of total hotel rooms that we receive applications for versus with the number or the amount of CARES Act funding. So let me do a better job explaining that. That was really bad. Okay, so if we receive total of all the applicants, we'll say 20,000 rooms. And right now there's 3 million available in that funding source. We would divide the 3 million by 20,000, and then that would be the award amount per the room. So if I applied and I had a 100-room hotel, then I would get 100 times whatever that room rate is that we end up being able to pull out of that. So this program, again, if you received a grant under Access to Capital, we will deduct whatever your grant was from this total. So again, you're not getting any kind of 2 awards. Good. Next slide.
The one thing I'll just add really quick as we're going to that slide, 188 hotels. On this one, we're leaning very heavily on people in the industry to help us get the word out, HTA, others.
Muhammad's texting me now.
Yeah, so we're relying on them on that, and again, launch next week.
So I'll make good. Muhammad is watching us, so can we make sure we coordinate with HTA on the launch?
Oh, that's an absolute.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's got to make sure we have to.
Yeah, no, it's.
I'm not going to say the other language she put in this text, but thank you all.
Oh yeah, no, it has to be
Hey, can
done.
I question on that too? I'm sorry. You know, I've been advocating for hotels and motels since April. Is there any other requirement for the hotels and motels to apply for this funding?
So what we're doing on this one is we are taking April to August. There is a form, a tax form, an accommodations tax form that a hotel every month has to submit to the county. And so what we're doing is we want that period of time from 2019, and then we want them to submit that same period of time from 2020. And that is what's going to show us that there has been a 25% decrease in revenue because we're going to use that form. And then also having just, to August of 2020, seeing that form also lets us know that they are still an active business. So that is what we are looking for documentation-wise.
Any questions? Who should they reach out to, or who's the contact person?
So our Foundation for the Carolinas is our partner again. The email address and the telephone number, which I'm happy to send back out again, that we've used is the same one we're using for all grant programs. So what was set up for Access to Capital, it's for everything that we have with the foundation. So hotels, food support, and the 30 million Access to Capital, all Foundation for the Carolinas.
Okay, and so if we could just have someone type that into Facebook and YouTube, just to
Okay.
have that
Great.
information. Thank you.
That's an awesome idea. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, so the next 2 small business support. Oh,
Chairman,
that Ms. Johnson or Ms. Ashmere?
Ajmer.
Go ahead, Ms. Ashmere.
Thank you. So I have a couple of questions for, could you go back one slide? Okay. So for the hotel support, I know there were some changes that were made to food and beverage support program with having, there was $30,000 minimum requirement that was taken out with the changes that were made. What is the, I guess, would those changes also apply to hotel support?
Yes, that's a great question. They will apply to that as well. We're not having the minimum gross sales for either of those programs.
Okay, and I understand that we had also extended the food and beverage support program to music venues, which makes sense because a lot of them do end up serving food and beverages. Would they also be able to apply to other programs?
So when we put music venues in there, I know that you all are having some discussion around music venues. That, on our end, you are absolutely correct. We just felt like they were included in the description. So it's like caterers, restaurants, bars, music venues. Like, it's just anyone who sells sells food and or a beverage. And so for us, we were just more clarifying who could apply to this. But that is not inclusive of the conversations you are having to date with music venues.
Got it. No, I think I appreciate the clarification that was made. Because you're right, a lot of them do end up serving beverages and food, and now they're able to apply. What were other changes that were made other than the music venue expansion and the no minimum?
The other change was that you could do multiple locations. We know that these restaurants are some of our largest employers, and seeing that we are trying to keep those that are employed, continue to keep them employed, as well as give the opportunity for new employment opportunities. So we really felt like that was a good adjustment to make.
Got it. So would those changes also apply to the hotel support program? So let's say if someone has more than one hotel or two hotels, would they be able to apply per hotel?
Yes, they can apply on the hotel program. You can apply for as long as the hotels have, you're filing separate, which my understanding is you do the accommodations tax form, then yes, you are in good shape, because we're going to need the 5 months of comparable data from 2019 to 2020 per hotel. So.
Got it. Okay. Well, so how many hotels can we support with the funding that's been allocated? Like, do we have some sort of estimates?
So we ran some initial data, and we think there could be up to 188 hotels that would be eligible for this.
188 hotels. There's 188 hotels total. That's just under 25,000 rooms.
And so right now there's $3 million designated towards this program.
Got it. So how many are there total number? I mean, what's the total number of hotels do we have in the city? So we are looking at 188 who will get the funding, but what's the total number?
That is the total number of hotels.
Oh, got it. Okay. Okay, so all of them, whoever applies, which should be able to get some funding.
That's correct. That is how we've structured
If they meet the
it.
requirement.
That's right. That's how
Okay.
we've structured that one.
Oh, great. All right. Well, that's great. Thank you so much. Holly, appreciate all your leadership on this. And Tracy, great job. I appreciate you reaching out to HTA. Like Councilmember Johnson had mentioned, we had a lot of hotel owners that were reaching out to us in April, May, and June timeframe about getting some assistance and support from the city. So hopefully this will give them a fighting chance. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that feedback, and those are great questions. Okay, next slide. So these are two other initiatives that you all have approved. One is the Small Business Innovation Fund. This is taking the fund that Center City Partners has been working with Honeywell and Duke, and really that is within the Center City Partners footprint. So what we're proposing is taking $1.5 million and on October 26th, launching an application process that would be citywide eligibility. And so really the funding is looking at providing funding to small businesses that are doing some kind of an innovation in their operation or products to really pivot to continue to make revenue during COVID-19 or as a result of COVID-19. The next one is Resilient Re-Up. This is the one that is resiliency and business continuity planning. We've kind of built it off the Amp Up Charlotte model. So application will be launched by mid-October on this one. 60 small businesses will complete a very intensive cohort-based, and it's like 3-part curriculum. And we are partnering with Asfalis for program development and implementation, which is a local minority female-owned firm.
Holly, real quick, just, and you're great on time. 4 minutes over, real quick. On the Resilient Re-Up, who would select the 60 businesses? Your shop or?
No, Asfalis. They'll work with us on it. Okay. Alexis Gordon's actually running this project on my team, but they're doing it. They know what they are looking for these companies and what success looks like for them as far as getting them through the resiliency planning process.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, next slide. So now we're going to get into some of the workforce initiatives, Thrive Hiring Grant, and Fran's fabulous presentation. She talked about this, but this is the incentive that awards mid-sized companies $5,000 per hire for all Charlotte residents hired into open positions. We expect with this money, 150 Charlotteans will be impacted. When they hire companies within the business revitalization corridor geography actually will receive $6,000 instead of $5,000 per hire. So there's that incentive there. And this is anticipated to launch on Tuesday, September 29th.
Oh, okay, tomorrow.
Yep. Yes. Next slide. So this is a Renew training program. The first 2 cohorts have been launched, and with the Urban League of the Central Carolinas, there are 30 participants currently enrolled in a 12-week training. There will be a 3rd cohort launched of 15 to 20 individuals. That'll be a partnership with Goodwill. That will happen in October, and these individuals will receive basic construction and HVAC training. The CARES Act funding allows us to pay a stipend while they're in training of $15 an hour. That's each participant receives that. And then Emily Cantrell is working very diligently on aligning full-time employment opportunities for the graduates with the corporate partners. Next slide. And then this is the Workforce Partner Support Grants. This is the one we say is set up very similarly to the Small Business Partner Support Grants, except this is for our workforce partners. So the same things for them to be able to meet the demands that they're facing right now, especially with the high unemployment rates in the community, and then to do any kind of new programming that may be necessary to really meet the demands in the best way possible. The application period closed on August 18th. They received 38 applications that totaled a little over $5 million in requests, so there's some decisions definitely to be made there. There is a steering committee. They are using a process similar to what we did that's reviewing and rating the applications, and then award notices should go out the first week in October. And so I'll turn it over, next slide, I'll turn it over to Tracy to wrap things up.
This is just a quick recap of where we talked about the money and kind of the status. So Holly just ended on the Workforce Partner Support that launched in September. Money should go out. Money should go out next week. Thrive Hiring Grants will launch tomorrow. Open for Business platform is ongoing. It is that platform that's supporting all of these initiatives and getting the word out. Plus continuing to unite small businesses in our community and into the platform, as well as we have kind of some other future next steps that we're working on once we get through some of this on this list. And then we talked about the Renew career cohorts, October, November. The Resilient Re-Up program launches mid-October. Innovate Business Grants, we talked about being the phase 3 out of that with Center City Partners that will launch October 26th.
And then the impacted relief fund, which was $8 million in total. Food and beverage is $500,000, $5 million. Remember that supports the Charlotte Street Eats, as well as administrative and the food and the grant program. And then we have $3 million for hotels that will launch October 6th. And then some of the implementation costs right there that is consistent with what we have told you all along. So that is where we are tracking today. I know that Sean